Hello my friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are trying to button up the terrace garden project because we're at a great point where we can get a lot of things kind of tidied up, neat and tidy here before we enter into the throes of fall. Behind me, you will see that I have got my fellows with me. I've got Jerry and Jackson back there. They are currently laying out some of the Daddy Pete soil conditioner, which is aged pine bark fines. We use this kind of as mulch. So that's what they're doing right now. Let me go do a little backtracking because we did some work over here yesterday. We didn't film, we were just over here working. So let me get you caught up to date and then tell you what the plan is for today, because there's probably a hurricane tropical storm headed our way, as per usual here in the fall in the south. Yesterday, what happened is we came through and Jerry went ahead and got the red clay smoothed out, right? So we went ahead and filled in the flower bed, and then you can see that we have laid down, this was some of the leftover potting mix, the professional potting mix that we pot all of our plants in, and we had some left over. So this is a great way to use it because this entire area is going to be an annual planting bed. We've talked about it many times. If you know that you're going to have an area with annuals in there all the time, you want to amend. Now, there is plenty of natural native soil underneath here. This was just to fill in behind the wall. I know a lot of you are going to ask, because some of you are very savvy to that, is because we do have this retaining wall here, correct? Well, if you fill in with soil behind there, especially kind of some fine potting soil like this, let's see if I can find a little piece, you know that eventually that potting soil is going to find its way out. So we have landscape fabric here. The landscape fabric is simply lining the wall all the way down. That way, when we get rain like we did last night, as the water drains out, we're not going to have red clay seeping out. We're not going to have potting soil seeping out. The wall will stay nice and neat and clean. So that is there. We are coming back through, like I said, with this is the Daddy Pete Soil Enhancer. Truly, all it is aged pine bark fines. This makes a great soil amendment if you're looking to aerate compacted clay soil. We also love to use it as a mulch because it works really well. So they've laid out some bags, emptied out some bags. Jerry's going through and just smoothing it out. We're not going to be planting in this particular bed until early December, when the tulips arrive. So this is going to be an annual bed. I'm going to plant my tulips in here beginning of December. There's going to be a huge planting of yellow tulips this year in this bed, and then when they're done, then we go into our summer planting. They will be annuals in here as well. So we're just going to get this covered up so for the next 2 months we're not going to be working in this bed at all. So for 2 months, this is going to kind of lay empty. So it'll be nice to have this mulch on top of it. So that's what's happened there. And then of course we got the steps are in up to the chicken coop, right? So they are in yesterday. I'm going to tiptoe up the wall here. Yesterday when we were working, we went ahead and got the decorative gravel extended out some here and got all the irrigation lines. They are buried. So we have irrigation lines going up here to Hydrangea Hill that will service all the flower beds up here. And then they got the trencher out and trenched in right across this step, going across. If you can see that black solid pipe over there, that is for the sprinkler that will service the grass. So we're trying to get all of this now covered in with a soil enhancer so we can get out of the mud. And because even just walking in it, if you're not familiar with red clay, it is very, very sticky when it is wet. So Jerry's been working, came over here, we were going to assess Hydrangea Hill, and He was picking up the gravel because there was so much clay stuck to his shoes. So we're trying to get out of the mud here before we go work up here, because this is gonna be a muddy, muddy mess. So we're gonna try to finish one spot, get out of the mud, and then we can move up here. The goal for today is possibly, we'll see how the day goes, but we wanna go ahead and get this area taken care of as well. If we can move the 4 edge of nights, that would be amazing. I've got 4 summerific edge of nights right here. Dig them up, and then they're gonna go in this general area back here. Again, it is quite sticky and quite muddy. We cannot get any machinery in here because this is pretty loose soil. And the last thing you wanna do is bring in a heavy piece of equipment and it start pressing on the wall. Not good, my friends, not good. So this will have to be dealt with by hand. The only area he might be able to get in with the machine would just be right here on the corner, because this is where both the loropetalum was and the part of the roots of the crepe myrtle. So you can see I've got roots sticking up. I just can't get them out because they're buried so much. So we might be able to use a machine, because the machine can sit on hard ground back here and we can take care of that. I do have a jumbo jardiniere piece from Unique Stone that is going to go kind of in this general vicinity to kind of help bring your eye away from the hole that is the the green giant. So because remember that loropetalum was growing into that, we brought it out, and so we're kind of draw your eye away with another focal point, which will be that jumbo jardiniere. I would like to get that put in place today because of course it is a heavy piece. Get that in, get it level. Not planting it today, I just want to get it in place. Get some mulch around there. Trying to keep the dog out of the mud is an impossible task. So we're just, yeah, it's like having a toddler around. So right now what we're gonna do, we also have landscape lighting that arrived yesterday. We'll see, I mean, I'm very ambitious, and so we'll see how that works out if we start to put any kind of landscape lighting out. And yeah, so there's a lot happening, and so we're gonna get to work. So I'm just gonna set the camera up. We'll get all this soil enhancer spread out, get out of the mud, and then we'll move on from there. My friends, we're calling it a day. It has been a great, sweaty, thick day here. We've gotten a lot of stuff done. All the mud has been covered, all that thick red clay has been covered. But yeah, we're gonna call it kind of quits for today because it is thick out here. We're having like a 90, last time I checked it was 93% humidity and the dew point was like 71. It's only in the 70s, upper 70s, but my gosh, y'all, it is like swimming in soup out here. So we're calling it a day. Just to give you a quick overview of everything, the ruckus is Jerry smoothing out the gravel, trying to again get out of the mud. We only have so much gravel left, so there's a little bit right here. We'll see what we can do about that. But the beds here have been covered. They are not exposed with the red clay. Praise the Lord. We are so tired of looking at red clay. I'm trying to come down here so I can give you a view from the end so you can kind of get the whole perspective here. Y'all were kind of laughing at us, lovingly laughing at us because originally, you know how it goes around here. Originally it was that this was going to be like a 3-foot wide bed. Well, as you can see, that's a little bit more than 3 feet. It's now 5 feet. But we are going to keep it this width, right? We like having that patch of grass right there. We like having that contrast of that bright green, beautiful fescue grass up against the mulch and the bright, gorgeous flowers that are to come. So we're going to keep this little pocket of grass right there. Plus, let's just be honest, grass is much easier to maintain than a flower bed. And so you can come through and you can mow it once as opposed to having mulch and plants and weeding and all the things. So this is what we are going to stick with. We do have that 5-foot bed right here. All of the brown tubing that is up against the wall right here, that is the access for the drip. So we will have, off of this, we'll connect drip, because remember there is a 1-inch PVC line that brings that great pressure all the way down, and then we will tie in to the drip right here. There's 3 of them down there. Then on the grass side, you can see there are black lines. This is a solid black line. That is where the sprinklers will go for the grass, which inevitably, I am sure, will also hit this flower bed up here, which desperately needs some love and attention. So maybe that can be like my winter project, is maintaining this. So this whole area has, quote, been finished. We don't have to touch it until December when the tulips come. So there you go. And then we have this area right here. So basically the annual bed is going to come here because that's a nice straight line. And then from this point on, this is where we're going to, quote, extend the cottage garden, put in more shrubs, evergreen shrubs, all the way up. Now, yes, we are going to leave a path through here. It's going to stay mulch. If I do anything, maybe I just sink some flagstone in there, and that's it. It's not going to be a super defined pathway. I don't want a super defined pathway. I want it just to blend in, but if we need to walk over there or, you know, foreseeable future, we're working in the garden boxes and I need to bring some additional soil, I can bring Johnny, I can back Johnny up to this point and then have a nice path that I can walk the bags of compost or soil or whatever it is over there. So I believe, fingers crossed, tomorrow should be the day that we get the shrubs from Southern Living. So Southern Living Plant Collection contacted us, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago and said, hey, we know it's fall in the south, it's perfect time for planting. We've got some shrubs available, would you like some? And we said, yes and please, thank you. So they are set, I think, to arrive, I think tomorrow, because the trucking company called Jerry about arranging delivery. So they'll be here tomorrow, and then the camellias are not quite ready. They'll come in, I mean, like within the next 2 weeks, which is great. So the Living gets here, make sure that we will do a video to show you all the fantastic goodies that come on that. But my plan is to kind of fill this in, and then y'all call me crazy, but let's see if I can jump down here. Let me jump down here on the wall, and I have an idea. I haven't even told Jerry, so hold that thought. Okay, so basically, if I am standing at my kitchen sink, this is the area that I see a lot of. And you know that Mimi has had such so much fun and great success with her monarch way station. Now, I may not be an official monarch way station. I may or may not. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But I am thinking, how fun would it be to develop this area, really trying to attract and support those pollinators, whether it is the monarchs with the zinnias and the butterfly weed and the milkweed and all the all the weeds, bringing those in, and then also, of course, you know, your swallowtails with the dill and the parsley and all of that. But just really load me up with a lot of zinnias, because I do have quite a few seeds for various colors of zinnias and cosmos and sunflowers. I have all the things. Yes, so I probably have way too many seeds that will fill in the garden boxes. So I'm like, okay, I need an overflow area. So this might be a really fun overflow area. Of course, mixing in those evergreen shrubs, different things like that, but just really mixing it in so that we have season interest, but also really supporting the pollinators. That's kind of my thought on that. And then as far as the steps go up to the chicken coop, really fun. I have got, and this is coming this week as well, we have on hand at the nursery a ton of gorgeous different varieties of ajuga. Ajuga is a great ground cover. It would be almost like a steppable. So, and they're different colors, different textures, different leaf sizes, sun or shade, very versatile. And so I have that. I've got like some creeping jenny. I got some dwarf mondo grass. I've got, oh gosh, I've got a whole assortment of things. I've got some gorgeous Delosperma ice plant from Proven Winners to tuck in on the sides, but I'm really going to landscape both between the steps and on the sides of the steps. So the steps are going to really blend in to the landscape. I'm bringing the landscape up to the steps. Again, y'all, this is not a massive high traffic area. Yes, my kids, my family, we go there at a minimum once a day to take care of the chickens, but this is not like, you know, a big, huge space like at the nursery where we have high traffic volume on this. This is for our family going up and down. So I think that's going to be really fun to mix in all the colors and the textures on that. We will have landscape lighting, that the pathway lighting that will go up here. Because of the heat and the humidity, we put a pin in the landscape lighting. We're like, yeah, we're going to do that on a day where it's a lot drier and cooler, because y'all, dear heavens. So the other big thing that we got done is, you can see there is no more red clay up here. The red clay is gone. You can see our pile of bags. So let's talk about this really quickly one more time, because I can see how this might be confusing for some people. So why in the world did we come through and put potting soil on top of our red clay native soil? Basically what we're doing is we're creating and we're adding in that great organic matter. We're adding in the topsoil. Y'all, there was literally no topsoil. When I say straight red, compacted, pure red clay, that is what this is. This is literally the worst soil on our property, is this hill. Well, why is that? Well, I just told you, it's a hill. So imagine over the past 20, 30, 50 years, every time we get these big rains, all that topsoil gets washed away. It's only been here in the last 10 years that we're trying to terrace this and slow this down as far as the water. So when I say that there is zero topsoil, that is exactly what I mean. Also, we didn't just amend a hole. You don't ever want to have clay soil and you take out and you dig a hole and you throw out the red clay and you fill it with potting soil. Don't ever do that. That's called a bathtub effect. It's terrible. Your plants will drown. Trust me, do not do this. You will notice we amended the entire bed. The entire area got the exact same thing. It got that, you know, that professional potting mix. And when I say it's professional, it is what we use professionally. There's zero fertilizer in it, okay? So it is just the potting soil. So then we came back through, we had a couple of little bags of land and sea in some areas. We came back through with that land and sea and did that as a top dress. When we dig up plants, when I dig up my summerifics and I move them over there, when I plant the camellias, when I plant the spreading juniper, when I plant the abelias, I'm going to use my power planter auger, and that is going to mix in the native red soil and this potting soil and the compost. Is all going to mix in together. Then once the whole area has been planted and the landscape lighting's in and we can be completely done with this area, then we're going to come back and we will do a nice little top dress of some type of mulch, right? Ties it all in together, and the bed will be finished and be able to put to bed for the winter, and then plants can just be allowed to grow. So I don't want that to be confusing as to why we did that, but we're literally creating a layer of topsoil in this area. We had to do it by hand because, again, area is wet. If we put heavy equipment on it, that's going to put pressure on the wall. The absolute last thing we want to do is to put pressure on this wall and it buckles and then it collapses, right? So because we had all that rain, now once this gets like really compacted and dry, of course you could drive equipment on it. We're not going to be able to because we're going to have plants there. So this is going to be an area where we have to physically work the area. And then last but not least, the jumbo jardiniere from Unique Stone is now in her resting place. It is sitting there. We went ahead and put in, they're actually like building blocks for another wall that we had done, or there's some sort of stone, right? They're in a tapered form. So there's 4 of those because that jumbo jardiniere is extremely heavy. I don't know how many pounds it weighs. I mean, it's a couple of hundred, I would say. Very, very heavy. Even when it was sitting over at the Pines for sale, it was sitting flat on the ground, and because it's so heavy, it would fill up with rainwater and it wouldn't drain because it was just compressed into the soil. You know how much rain we've gotten, that soil was saturated. So it was literally like halfway full of rainwater. So if you have a really big pot like this, you're gonna wanna raise it up a little bit. We want drainage, right? So by putting those 4 blocks underneath there, now you can come back, and I will, with mulch and kind of hide the fact that those blocks are there, but I don't have to worry about my container filling up with tons and tons of water and then therefore drowning my plants. Because let me tell you, once you put soil in here and you put plants in here, you're not moving this container. I mean, it is a beast. This is, like I said, the jumbo jardiniere. I'll have to go back and look at the size on it, but it is every bit of 2.5, 3 feet, 2.5 to 3 feet tall, and I don't know how it's pretty big, right? So what we're going to put in here is this is coming too. We have a nursery delivery for more stuff for the nursery, but I'm going to do a goshiki, which is a variegated sweet osmanthus. So if you know anything about Jenny loves tea olives, loves tea olives. They are divine. They are in their prime right now and smell amazing. So I wanted to put an evergreen, a full sun, but I didn't want to put a green evergreen because we have the thujas here, we have the fig tree, and by putting that goshiki, which is a variegated, and it looks more like a holly because it has that holly type leaf to it, that will go in here. And then as it's growing, I can come in with some annuals and underplant and have fun things like with that. The irrigation is right here, so that's another reason we can just shoot the irrigation straight up the whole of the pot, and then there you go. So lots of like fun things that way are happening, and very, very exciting. I can't remember if I had showed you that I did find a Rise Up Amberness that's going to go into the obelisk here in the center. So she is blooming, has been blooming for a couple of days now, has some more buds on her, but Rise Up Amberness is one of my absolute favorites in that series from Proven Winners. Y'all, not only is she gorgeous, she smells amazing. Every time I walk by, I can smell it, and it is absolutely glorious. So one day again, when it's not so hot and sticky, I've got to fix, I put this one piece on backwards, so I've got to unbolt it and flip it around. So that's going to get fixed, and then we'll take this, put it in the center, run those bars through it, and then I don't know if I need to raise it up a little bit or not, because amberness can get up to 5 feet tall. So we might come in here with some gravel and just raise the obelisk up some. I'm not sure what we're going to do on that, but just know that she's sitting here hanging out in the pot. That's a great tip, right? If you are holding on to a plant and you're not quite ready to plant it yet, it's not a problem. So what I actually did is I came through and there was some weeds on the top. So I actually took the plant out of the pot, scraped off that first inch or 2 layer of the top of the potting soil that had the weeds on it, took that out, put it back in the pot, put some rose tone in there, and then top dress with some land and sea. So and it's just sitting here because it's cloudy and it's rainy. If it were warm, then I would have like a saucer underneath it so that it could get water that way. But she is getting fed, she is getting nourished. We're gonna have all this rain, so she's gonna be quite happy and rise on up and be gorgeous. So I think we've covered all the topics for today. I think we've covered everything. If you have any questions, I'm sure you'll let us know. Just put them in the comments, and we feel good. At least this portion, we're out of the mud. Now, the cottage garden, still a mess. That's all right. That's another project for another day after all this rain comes through. Not today, but it has been good work, but very, very, very humid and sticky, and yeah, it's officially fall. Doesn't feel like fall here in North Carolina, but that's okay. We're used to it. All right, my friends, as always, thanks so much for growing with Creekside. Y'all have an amazing day. See you in the next video. Bye, friends.